to teach you another Rise Against song. It's called People Live Here. It's in half-step down tuning and in 3/4 time. If you don't know what that means, don't worry, I didn't either. Instead of just going 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So keep that in mind when you're strumming. We're going to start with the intro, and it's got 3 really easy chords. They're going to be A minor, F, and C. And the strumming pattern is going to be down, up, before switching chords. And that's going to be pretty much the same throughout the song. So to start with that A minor, put your index finger on the first fret of the B string and leave the D and G string open, because you're going to hammer on to the second fret when you strum down. So you hammer on to the second fret of the D string and second fret of the G string on that first down strum. And then up, down, up. Then you're going to switch to the F chord, which is 3rd fret A and D string, 2nd fret G, and 1st fret B. And then do the down, up strum. Then you switch to a C chord, and you're going to hold that for 2 measures, and it's going to be down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, and then you repeat. So you do that twice in the intro before going into the verse. Now the verse is played pretty much the same way as the intro for the most part, but it adds a G chord in there. So when you start, it's going to be played just like the intro. So A minor, F, C for 2 measures, and then you go back to an A minor, F, C for 1 measure, and then you switch to a G chord. So the second progression goes A minor, F, C, and after that, you go into the second part of the verse. Now, the second part of the verse sounds a little bit different. It's going to go F, C, G, A minor, and then F, C, G, and then there's a little lick at the end. So you play the same strumming pattern as you did before, starting with that F chord, to the C, G, A minor, F, C, After you finish strumming down, up on the G, you're going to pick the 3rd fret of the B string with your ring finger, slide up to the 5th fret, then put your index finger on the 3rd fret of the B string again, and you're going to pluck the 3rd fret and slide down to the 1st fret, and then pluck the 1st fret one more time. So with the G chord, back into an F. Now when you go back to the F, that starts the 3rd part of the chorus, which sounds like this. So again, you go F, down, up, C, down, up, G, down, up, A minor, F again, but you hold this for 2 measures, so down, up, and then you go back to G and you hold that for 4 measures. Before going into the chorus. So altogether the verse should sound like this. Alright, so the chorus has 4 parts, and we're going to start with a different chord this time. It's going to be a D suspended 2nd, which is basically a D chord, just that high E string doesn't need to be played. You're still going to use the same strumming pattern, but each chord goes for 2 measures. So the first part of the chorus goes D suspended 2nd, A minor, C, and G. So if you hold each for 2 measures, it's going to go. The second part is played similar. You you do the D suspended second again, to the A minor, but then you go to the G for 4 measures. Now the third part of the chorus is going to go F, G, A minor, and then C, and then G. So the first two chords, F and G, are going to be held for 1 measure each, and then A minor, C, and G get 2. So like this. And for the last part of the chorus, you strum F and G, but F gets 4 measures, and G gets 1 strum, and then you mute it. So F for 4 measures. And then G gets 1 down strum, and then mute the strings. So the chorus should sound like this. And after all that, you play the chords from the intro again, and then you go into the second verse. Now the first part of the second verse is going to be picked out instead of strummed. You still use the same chords, they're just picked individually. So this is what it's going to sound like. So start with that A minor shape, and you're going to pluck the A string, D, G, and then switch to an F power chord. So index finger 1st fret E string, ring finger 3rd fret A string, and pinky on the 3rd fret of the D string. And you're going to pluck E, A, D, and then switch your fingers to the shape of a C chord and pluck A, D, G, A, D, G. Now the second time around, you do the same thing. But instead of plucking C twice, after that first time you do it, you go into a G chord and you strum down, down, up, down, up. And then you're going to start strumming the rest of the chords for the verse, which is just part 2 and part 3 of what I already taught you. Now the second chorus is played just like the first one I showed you. It's just the ending that changes a little bit. So at that last part of the chorus where you're strumming F for 4 measures, and then you strum G, real quick, mute it. You're going to start strumming G again, and you strum it 6 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then you move on to the bridge. Now the bridge may be a little difficult for some people because he starts using some bar chords up here higher on the fretboard. It's still going to be an A minor, and then we're using a C at 9, and then an F major chord. But with that A minor, you're going to use your ring finger on the 7th fret of the A string, your pinky on the 7th fret of the D string, and use your index finger to bar the 5th fret of the G and B strings. And you're going to strum it like that. So down, up, up. And then you go to a C add 9 chord, and that's just your ring finger on the 3rd fret of the B string and your middle finger on the 3rd fret of the A string. And then again, down, up. And then you get set up with an F chord, and you do down, up. But the second time you strum it for the second measure, you pull your middle finger off the 2nd fret of the G string and leave it open, and then strum down, up. And you're going to play that 6 times. So it's going to sound like this. Play it 4 times, but like I said, play it 6. The next part of the bridge you play 4 times, but you're going to use the regular A minor chord. You're going to use a G/B chord, and then an F, and then you're also going to use a G at the very end. So at the end of the 4th chord progression, you're just going to start strumming that G chord. So it's going to sound like this. fourth time of that chord progression, you do the same thing. So down, up, 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 down, up. And then when you get to the G, you do it for 2 measures and 1 extra down strum. So down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Let it ring out for a second before you start the last part of the chorus. Now the last part of the chorus sounds like this. And that's the end of the song. So I'm still using the same chords that we have been using, I'm just using different variations of them. So the ones you're not used to yet are going to be F, G, A minor, D, G, and then you use the regular F and G chords after that. But the first part, what I'm doing, I'm using my thumb to mute the top 2 strings. If you can't do that, just go ahead and strum the D, G, and B strings without strumming those top ones. So you strum down once on that F chord, and then you just move all your fingers up 2 frets. So your ring finger's on the 5th fret of the D string, your middle finger's on the 4th fret of the G string, and your index finger's on the 3rd fret of the B string, and you strum down there. And then you move your ring finger to the 7th fret of the D string, and then use your index finger to bar the 5th fret of the G and B strings, and strum down. And that's going to be your A minor. And then you go to a D chord, and all you have to do is take your ring finger off the 7th fret of the D string and strum the 5th fret of the D, G, and B strings. And then you go back to the G, which you already know. For that F and that G chord, you just do all down strums, and you strum each of them for 4 measures. And then you go back to the F for 4 more measures. You strum a G once, mute it, and then at the very end you're just going to strum an A minor chord and use the hammer on. And that's the end of the song. As always, guys, thank you for watching. I appreciate every single one of you, whether you're subscribed or not, but if you're not, why not? Thank you, Elite9 Guild 9. I appreciate you requesting this song. If you guys have any more requests, go ahead and leave them in the comment box down below, and I will get to them as soon as I can. As you can tell, I'm still in my tie. I just gotten off work before starting making this video. It is now 11:30, and I have to be back at work in the morning. So that's how much I love you guys. So yeah, thanks for watching, and subscribe if you haven't.